Now back to Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis.
And we welcome you back to Inside West Virginia Politics, where this weekend we're focused on our congressional delegation. I want to introduce Congressman Alex Mooney. He's the Republican from District 2 here in West Virginia. Great to have you on the show again.
Good to be with you again.
We know you guys are busy in Washington, D.C. We got to address the big elephant in the room right now, the impeachment trial in the U.S. Senate. What are your thoughts? You, of course, voted against the articles of impeachment. What are your impressions so far?
It's a disgrace to our country that the Democrats have put us through this, to be honest with you. I hope the Senate quickly moves on from this so we can get back to the real work that needs to be done in America. But I also hope the Senate gives the president a chance to defend himself. To see, my mother fled a communist country, Cuba, and to see the Congress deny the president the right to face his accuser like we're facing each other now, that's a basic right of the judicial system. You can face your accuser. You can call your own witnesses to defend yourself. To see the president deny those rights in the House impeachment process was outrageous to me.
All right, should he have that opportunity in the Senate? If he wants to call Joe Biden, for example, should he be able to?
Yes, he should be able to call Hunter Biden or Joe Biden. He should be able to call, the Senate really will do it, but in Trump's behalf, they should be able to call this mysterious whistleblower who never testified. He was supposed to testify and he didn't. I think he should be able to defend himself. His legal team is at least there defending himself now, so that's a fair process in the Senate. I'm pleased it's a fair process. Hope they move quickly.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it as this progresses. It may be a week, 2 or 3, but there are other issues we've got to address. You, Congresswoman Miller, and Congresswoman McKinley have introduced a bill targeting the Clarksburg VA, but the VA in general. Obviously, we've had a number of suspicious deaths, in fact, homicides up there. What's your intent with this bill?
So once the process is over, we don't want it kept secret. So the bill that we've put in simply says the families and even the public have a right to know the findings. We want to know what happened, why, where the mistakes were made, and how do we prevent it in the future. So it's a transparency bill. We think that the families deserve that. It was obviously an outrage and horrible what happened. The only thing we can do now is make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, because there were markers along the way. The fact that one person died, a guy was getting better, all of a sudden up and dies the next day, and it raises a lot of red flags. Did they miss a lot of red flags in many of these cases?
They may have, and they may be continuing to miss red flags. So in the investigative process, let's hope they uncover what happened, show us that. Now, if what they show us seems incomplete, at least once they show it, people can ask questions of it. And we can say, hey, you didn't look into this correctly. We don't have enough information. But without our bill, that wouldn't necessarily come out to the public or to the families. So we need to make sure that they're held accountable. And there may be other reforms we need to pass. We pass VA reforms all the time about where to find your best doctor, going across state lines, using private doctors in the local community that may better serve the veteran than the VA system. So we need to look at some reforms that will provide the best health care to our veterans and their families.
All right,
I should mention my father was a captain in Vietnam in the U.S. Army, so this is a very passionate issue for me.
We thank you for your service. My dad was in the Navy in World War II in Korea, and my daughter's in the Army now, so this means a lot to me and most military families here in West Virginia, too. It's a big deal. Let's talk about some other issues on your agenda. You've been in Congress 6 years. I assume you're running for re-election.
I am running. Ready filed.
What do you want to get done?
Well, this year at least we should pass a transportation bill. We've been working on that for a couple years. We just met with the state legislators earlier, and the state has just one budget. The federal level, we pass a budget to plan spending, we authorize spending, then last but not least, we appropriate the money, which is writing the checks to actually spend. Too often we jump to the appropriations part. But we haven't done the appropriations bill yet for transportation, for example. We have some roads being fixed up here in this state. We're a road-heavy state, not a metro state. So part of my job is to make sure transportation funding goes to actually roads and bridges, not being absorbed into New York City or other big cities where they want it for metro.
You've got this interesting district that runs from the west on the Ohio River in Jackson County all the way to the Potomac River on the east in Jefferson County. I know Corridor H is over that eastern panhandle area. Are we going to get some more money? That's got to get finished, right? Yeah,
we have the money really authorized to go there. We got to write that last check. They're finishing up the current second to last phase, and then the last phase will start hopefully this year. At least the planning and construction, designing part of that phase. So there's a lot of hope there. That's finally moving forward, we believe. I have a separate bill that can allow unused Appalachian money for that, trade it from other states. So there's a big push here to finally get that finished. Very hopeful about that.
We'll see if Virginia jumps in and finishes its portion all the way to I-81. That'll connect the whole thing. We want to thank Congressman Alex Mooney, Republican from the 2nd District here in West Virginia. Good luck heading back to Washington, and I know you're going to be busy, and we welcome you to come back on the show anytime you're in town, okay?
Look forward to it. Thank you.
All right. We're going to have more Inside West Virginia Politics after this break. Stay with us.